All right, y'all, some follow up from that prior video. This is where one-on-one work in my mind body mentorship is key. Every client, every human being is having their own experience. So when it comes to inner child healing, attachment healing, it's also going to be their own unique experience, right? For me, when I started dating and crying a lot, it was almost it was a combination of various aspects of my healing, right? So at that point, it was like I knew enough and was in tune enough with my body from having done the work that I've done the last couple years to be like, okay, my body needs to cry. I need to just let it do its thing. I need to listen to it and honor it, because looking back, I would feel like I needed to cry so often in my life, but literally the tears would not come out. This was probably some sort of relationship to being criticized when I cried when I was younger, right? Or just feeling so uncomfortable showing any weakness or emotion in front of other people. And, then you look back at the times that you cried and you just felt like you burst into tears. Again, also a sign of like your system's in overwhelm, probably been in chronic fight or flight, right? So I got to a point where I had listened to my body enough, was regulated enough in a sense to allow those tears to come up. And I knew that holding them within was not going to be in service to my highest self. So last time I dated, like the end of last year, for example, and then earlier this year, just tears were coming out. They nonstop coming out. And it's like your mind can't always explain that. And that's okay, because you have the intelligence and the wisdom of your body doing its thing. So that can be tricky for people too. But when it comes to healing these patterns, the experience is going to be different for every client that I have, because some people are going to be at a point where it's just like, okay, you're dating again. We know these things are going to come up with you. So what practices are we going to remain rooted in while you're doing this, and perhaps add a little bit more or take away something else in your life that helps maintain as much homeostasis in your body as we can. And that doesn't mean they don't feel, right? They feel, they will experience their triggers, they're going to have their anxiety, their fears when they start dating, but it's like, okay, how do we move that energy through the body so that you make decisions that are really aligned with you and what you want, and you don't make decisions based on old patterns and repeating those old patterns. So keeping your regular nervous system work while you're dating, right? Because you're adding a new stressor in your life, and your body is going to only be able to tolerate so much allostatic load. It's called just stress load. So as you add that new stressor, you want to maintain and stay rooted again in your regular practices. All my clients, regardless, it's morning sunlight, AM and PM rituals, getting out in the sun throughout the day, and in the evening, think about like circadian rhythm work ultimately, maintaining their sleep practices, which when you start dating are one of the first things to go, because you want to stay up late and talk to that person and you're all excited and whatever. And it's like there's room for that too. This is why one-on-one work is where my bread and butter is, because you can't possibly really explain this in a reel or a video here on YouTube around like the nuances of this, because some people really need to like, they essentially should be staying up late, having fun, talking to that person, like giving themselves an opportunity to do something a little bit different. And then other people, we want them to stay a little bit more in their routine. So it really varies from client to client. But so maintaining your regular nervous system balance practices, and I also use an app with clients for that as well, that encourages them to do it on a daily basis and check in with themselves. And then clients, depending on where they're at, it's going to be different as to how and how much I encourage them to feel their emotions, right? So clients that are in the beginning stages of their healing process, sometimes we want to feel their emotions ultimately in spurts, because they feel very overwhelmed by feeling their sadness that comes up and their pain that comes up. And yes, this is why we have these tools to help them move that energy through the body, but maybe we just do it in smaller spurts. Whereas someone who has maybe gone through more healing or whatever stage in their journey, you could say, they might just be like, okay with collapsing to the floor and crying a ton and shaking and moving and letting it out and not feeling like they're going to be completely swallowed whole, right? And then we focus on dating yourself still. You fucking date yourself while you're dating this other person. It's going to shine through into that relationship. Continue to take yourself on dates. Romanticize your life. I know it sounds silly and everyone's saying it, but it's so true. Do your self-care, whatever that looks like for you. Keep your routines, as I like to call them, your rituals in place so that you can continue to prove to yourself that you got you through this entire experience. And that's going to just keep you so grounded as you stay in tune with yourself to decide if this person is someone you want in your life or not. More to come.